Welcome back to another video. This Friday I'm going to show you how to set up the Logitech G920 brake pedal correctly. Might seem like a strange video to put together, but lots of people have asked me to show you how to do this because I mentioned it in a previous video. And the reason I mentioned it in a previous video is because I see a lot of confusion over what Logitech did as an upgrade to the pedal set that came with the G920 over the previous G27. If you don't know, I'll tell you. They basically added a small piece of foam or rubber, more of a foam, inside the cylindrical part of the brake pedal. So as it compresses, as you push the pedal down, there's this insert here, and the further you get down, the more you're compressing this insert and the harder it makes the pedal feel. It's supposed to give you like a progressive brake feel, you know, as close to a real brake pedal as you can with this type of setup. You know, there's no load cell or anything here. It is all still travel dependent, you know, your brake input. The further you move the pedal, the more braking effect you get in the game, in the sim. Now, I like what they've done here. One of the most common things I see people complain about with sim racing brake pedals is that they're not hard enough. You know, even some of the high-end stuff, people are turning the spring strength all the way up and they're like, yeah, I'd like it a little bit harder still. You see it a lot, you know, with Barry in the sim racing garage. He loves a really hard brake pedal. Some people do. So I particularly like what they've done here. You know, considering it's not a load cell setup, the way the pedal feels, you get a little bit of travel, a bit more than you would in real life perhaps, and then it goes really quite hard for that last 25%. Now, what the idea of that is, once you hit that last 25%, you can almost modulate your braking by applying more or less pressure because you're not really moving that far. Now, this is what some people don't like. They say, oh, I can't hit 100% braking force because I can't push the pedal hard enough. Now, if you've got a desk mounted setup, I can see this would be a problem because if you push too hard, your desk seat's going to tip back and you're going to fall over potentially. If you're using the pedals sat on carpet, just using the carpet gripper on the underside of the pedals, I can see how that might not dig into the carpet enough and you might push your pedals away from you because it really does take some force. But this is a good thing, not a bad thing. Now, there are two ways to overcome this problem that you may have if your pedals are not secured to a rig and your chair is not secured to a rig. If you are secured to a cockpit, to a rig, you've got no issue. You know, you can press the pedal as hard as you like, the pedals won't move because they're bolted in, your seat won't move because that's bolted in. If though you still find it's too heavy, then you can do what I'm about to show you to adjust not the weight of the resistance of the pedal, but how far and how hard you need to press it. It's really quite simple. So there's two ways to do it. You can do it in each game individually, or you can do it in the game controller's control panel in Windows, and that will make a blanket adjustment across every single game you play that uses your Logitech setup. So let's get the screen capture started. Oh, and F9, yeah, there we go. So what I've got in the middle of the screen here is the game controller's control panel. You can see the Logitech G920 is there. If we double click on this, you get this screen come up where you can test all your inputs, your buttons, your steering wheel, your accelerator, your brake and your clutch. Now, to press the brake all the way down, yes, you have to press it hard. But as I say, this is a good thing. It's how brake pedals should feel. At least that's the general consensus between most of us. I'm sat in a play seat challenge. So technically, I'm in a rig. My seat's not going to go anywhere. My pedals are not going to go anywhere. But with this at full strength, if I push as hard as I need to hit, 100% there, the seat just lifts up a little bit in the middle. So in this setup, I would actually do what we're about to do and just turn it down a touch so that I don't have my seat lifting up that little bit like it is. Because you do want to be able to hit 100% braking force. And again, 100% braking force is a theoretical figure. In real life, there is no 100% braking force. The 100% braking force is about how strong your leg is, because you're pushing fluid from behind the brake pedal in the master cylinder to all the little slave cylinders on each brake caliper. They're effectively slave cylinders. You're pushing fluid. So there is no 100%, there is no maximum. It's literally the harder you press, the harder you'll brake. So really the limit, the 100%, would be the strength of your right leg. You could put both feet on it if you really wanted to stop hard. So this is only a theoretical maximum anyway, that the game designers have chosen to say, right, at 100% travel on the pedal or 100% pressure if you're running load cell, we will apply this much braking force to the game. And that is it. It's a setting. It can't be, you can't add more to it by pressing the pedal harder. Anyway, I'm waffling and digressing slightly. So we're in the control panel here. We've brought up the properties for the Logitech setup. Now, I just demonstrated you under the brake slider there, you can see it moves as I press the pedal. And I had to press pretty hard, enough to lift my seat up a little bit for that to happen. So if we then click settings and calibrate, just click next here, leave the steering wheel centered, press any button, turn the steering wheel all the way to the right. You have to do your steering wheel as part of the process because it calibrates all your inputs, not just the brake pedal. Do that. Accelerator obviously put all the way to the floor and all the way up because you want your full range. Now, here's the key point. We get to the brake pedal. Push it as far as you ever want to have to push it when you're racing. So if you're on a desk mounted setup, push the pedal down now as far as you want to before you feel your chair start to tip back. If you're on carpet using the grippers, push the pedal right now as far as you want to before your pedals start to slip along the floor. So I'm going to do just an extreme example. I'm only going to push it that far and I then lift off. If I now press a button like this, the brake is now calibrated so that that little bit of travel you just saw is the maximum amount. That will now register 100% brake input by only moving it that small distance that I did. So we do the clutch now, all the way to the floor, all the way off, press the button, and it's done. So now, back on this screen here, if I depress the brake, just that little bit, boom, we're 100%. I'm barely touching the pedal, look. 100% braking force achieved. Easy, piece of piss. My chair's not moving. I mean, this is way less than you would need, but you see how easy that was to do. There's no need to strip your pedals down, take out the bit of foam or rubber that that Logitech put in there to give you that effect, because it works well. You want it, and ironically, people with G27s are buying bits of foam to put in their pedals to make them like this one, aftermarket ones, and yet G920 owners, G29 owners are taking it out, and it's just because you don't know how to set up the brake pedal properly. It's really that simple. I'm barely touching it. Look, 100%, 100%, 100%. It's easy. So that's how you do it, and that's a global setting. You okay that. That should now stay the same, every time, and you won't have to do it again. The other way to do it, on a per game basis, if you wanted to, for whatever reason, is come into your game. I'm in a Assetto Corsa here. If we look on the left-hand side, let me just click in. Left-hand side, input 6 is your brake pedal slider. And again, it's hitting 100, and you can see it up to the right as well, axis 6. I'm barely having to touch the pedal because I've made that adjustment in the control panel. But if say you hadn't done that and you want to just do it per game, come up to your axis 6 slider, and where the right hand end is at 100%, bring it down to somewhere where you feel you might want it. So let's say 75%, for example, is probably a good point to start with, because it's about 75% where it really starts to get heavy and really starts to stiffen up. I mean, it doesn't now because I've made that adjustment in the control panel, but it would have done had I not already have done that. If I have it at 75% now, I've barely got to rest my foot on the pedal when I'm hitting 100% braking force in the game. So that's the two ways to properly configure your Logitech G920 or G29 brake pedal. This also applies to the G27, of course, if you have modified it and put one of these extra rubbers in. But you can see now why there's no need to remove that rubber, that foam insert that gives you that progressive feel at the end. You can literally adjust either one of these settings, either in-game or my preference in the control panel, to get it exactly where you want it, so that you can set your maximum braking pressure to where you want it to be. If you're, like I say, if you're in the desk mounted setup and your chair tips back because it's too hard, you push that pedal down just until your chair's got to move, just back up, and that's where you want it. Set it there, And the same, I'm in a play seat, I can press it a bit harder, which I definitely want to do. I can't press it all the way because, as you saw earlier, it lifts up a little bit. So I'm going to put somewhere around, maybe 90% on the travel, and that is your new 100%. And that's the way you should do it. So, you know, don't be put off by the people out there saying, oh, brake pedals, a load of wank, you know, they made it really hard, you can't get to 100%. This is how you do it if you don't want to leave it how it is, if you're not bolted to a proper cockpit and everything's solid. So yeah, hopefully that's been helpful for a few of you, especially those of you that asked. And for those of you that haven't asked and maybe you didn't realise this was the case and that you could do it, hopefully it's been helpful for you too. As always, thanks for those of you that donate to the channel every month. Thanks to my patron, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Have a great day. Take it easy.